Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. So I'm preparing for a family barbecue today, firing up the pizza oven for the first time in a couple of weeks, but I've also had a request to a dish called Beef Florentine, which I'm going to be doing in the kitchen, and that's a recipe we're going to cover today. So beef Florentine is a real family favourite with us. Our twins call it posh Italian cottage pie, which really doesn't do it justice. It's absolutely delicious. The spice blend we're going to be using from the Malat range is their Italian seasoning. And if you don't have access to that spice blend range, then as a bare minimum you're going to need 2 teaspoons of a decent quality Italian herb mix. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's have a look at those ingredients now and anything else we're going to need for today. So our ingredients for today's recipe, I've got 200 grams of grated mature cheddar cheese, 50 grams of grated Parmesan cheese, about 100 grams of closed cupped white mushrooms which have been sliced, 1 large white onion which has been chopped, a large green bell pepper again which has been chopped, 400 gram tin of chopped tomatoes, 2 medium-sized cloves of garlic which have been chopped finely, and 7 grams of the Malat Italian seasoning. We're also going to need a kilo of minced beef, 250 millilitres of beef stock, some olive oil for frying, a little bit of butter, maybe about 15 grams of butter here, a teaspoon of sugar, a pack of Filo Pastry, and a bag of fresh spinach. So this is a 450 gram bag of fresh spinach. So the first thing we need to do, I've got a large frying pan or casserole pan. In there is 4 tablespoons of olive oil. We just need to cook out the onion first of all. So this is a low to medium heat. I'm just going to sweat these onions down for about 3 or 4 minutes. So the onions are just starting to soften now, and they're breaking up as well. So next thing to do is we add in our garlic. And I'm just going to cook this garlic through for a minute. Okay, in goes our beef. I want to make sure this beef is brown all over, so maybe 7 or 8 minutes to cook that through. Okay, so this beef is browned now, broken down nicely. So the beef I'm using is from the butcher, and it's ground in front of you from offcuts of the large joints that they sell in the butcher shop. So I know this is obviously proper beef. If you're using shop purchased mince or ground beef, at this point you'll probably get a lot of residue in the bottom of the pan from added water and fat. Now is the time to drain that off. You don't want that in the final meal. So once you've drained off any excess moisture from the meat, once it's cooked, the next thing to do is we want to add in our Italian seasoning. And also our bell pepper. And just let that cook through for a couple of minutes, so all that Italian seasoning is getting soaked up by the meat. Now we want our chopped tomato in there. Our beef stock. And the sugar. So I'm now going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now we add in our grated Parmesan cheese. So this is not just going to add some incredible flavour, it's going to thicken this sauce as well, or help to thicken the sauce. And then the last thing to go in is the mushrooms. The reason for that obviously is mushrooms don't take anywhere near as long to cook through. So I'm going to combine all that together, leave this on a very low light now for about 30 minutes. Just to cook all the way through on a really gentle simmer. Okay, so once this sauce has cooked through for 30 minutes, we can put that to one side. In a large saucepan, I've got 1 centimetre of boiling water from the kettle. And the next thing we want to do is just add our fresh spinach and sweat that down for literally just a couple of minutes. So make sure you read the packet to see whether your spinach has been washed or not. If it hasn't, then obviously just rinse it in a colander under the tap. So I'm just going to place the lid on this pan now, and as I said, just for a couple of minutes, just sweat this spinach down. Okay, so that's our spinach done. Next thing I'm going to do is just to put the spinach into a colander and let it drain. So before we actually build our beef Florentine, we just need to check for seasoning, because this will be our last opportunity to do that. So it does need a little bit of seasoning. So just some sea salt. And freshly ground black pepper. Take a different spoon, taste that again. Yeah, that's much better. It's amazing the difference a well-seasoned dish can make regarding just the flavour. So to build our beef Florentine dish, I've already started to preheat the oven to 180 degrees centigrade. Got a Pyrex dish, so an oven-proof dish. We just want to put a layer of this sauce in the bottom, about a 2 centimetre thick layer. Okay, so once we've done that, next thing to do is our mature grated cheddar cheese, nice and evenly over the top. We now want the well drained spinach, again nice even layer over the top. So once we've done our spinach, the next thing is we're going to be covering this now with Filo Pastry. So what I've done here is I've just roughly measured the width of the dish that we're using and then cut the Filo Pastry to size. Don't worry, because we'll use it all, so none of it will go to waste. So we take a layer or a sheet of our Filo Pastry, and all you basically want to do is we're just going to be concertinaing this up. And actually, the rougher it is, the better. So we just draw in the Filo Pastry. Up to the edge, just like that. And then we just carry on doing that with the next layer, or the next sheet. So put that over there, and then just scrunch this up. So that, and just carry on doing that until obviously all of the dish is covered. So the final step before the beef Florentine goes in the oven is I've just blasted the butter that we had in the microwave on full power for 10 seconds, and we just want to cover the whole top of the Filo Pastry with the butter. Once we've done this, into that preheated oven for about 30 minutes. So there you go, beef Florentine, absolutely delicious, really easy to make. Just a couple of points though. One is make sure that you get rid of that excess water and fat from the mince when you've browned it. If you don't, that will end up as a horrible watery layer in the bottom of the finished dish. And the second point is using Filo Pastry as a topping. If your oven cooks unevenly, check the dish after about 10 minutes of it being in the oven to make sure that that Filo Pastry isn't getting burnt on one side. If it is, just rotate it in the oven to cook it evenly on the top. As usual, please subscribe to the channel, and if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit that like button. Thank you very much for watching.